welcome back. Welcome back to FBTV Radio Live. We try to get together and do this once a week, every Friday at 10 o'clock Central Time, Friday morning. But that's not always the case. How are you doing with the coronavirus? Are you about to go nuts yet? Stir crazy? You know, these PPP loans, the EIDLs, the stimulus money, all that's well and good. I know on the PPP loans, this is starting to become an issue because on the PPP loan, if you filed and or applied and got yours, you've got, 8 weeks to spend it. And to be able to spend it, because you're trying to get this loan to where it's not a loan, it's forgivable. But for it to become forgivable, you've got to use 75% of it for payroll, and you can use the other 25% to use for business expense like rent and things like that. So I know they are been talking about trying to get that changed because it's kind of a stupid deal at the time. You know, you're not letting businesses use the money the way they need it to be used. So, you know, it's kind of wild. Kind of wild. However, you know, you can use the money, pay it back at 1% interest. So the only thing is you got 2 years to pay it back. You know, I know some of these people, I was reading an article of somebody got like $44,000 loan. That means they're going to be paying it back at around over $1,800 a month. That's pretty steep. You know, that's pretty expensive. So it's going to be interesting to see how this all works out. I'm sure the Congress, Washington, somebody's going to be doing something to get that little snafu fixed. Otherwise, there's going to be a lot of companies out here. They're going to be in for a nightmare here in a few months when it comes time to start paying that money back. All right. You want to contact us, you can use the old standby. You can email us. Email us at FBTV let me start over. Email us at FBTV@freightbrokertv.com, or you can go to the Freight Broker TV website. Under pretty much every video on the contact page, there is a form you can use to fill out. Ask your question, make a comment, or send us a message. It'll come right to us. Or you can use our studio line. We got that set up and going now. Studio line 479-668-0213. If you're wondering, 479 area code is Arkansas. All right. So if you want to call, leave a message, comment, question, or whatever, we'd be happy to answer your question or whatever the case may be. Okay, what's happening around the news? FMCSA, they have once again extended the hours of service emergency declaration for the second time. FMCSA announced a couple of days ago that the emergency declaration, which applies to all 50 states and the District of Columbia, going to remain in effect through June 14th. The initial emergency declaration issued back in March was previously extended through today, May 15th. So that extension allows drivers that are transporting essential goods during this coronavirus crisis to continue to work under the hours of service emergency declaration for the second time. Okay, if you're going to be in Indianapolis anytime coming up around May 22nd or so, I70 going to be closed in stretches for 30 days to do some bridge work. Indiana DOT Going to be closing down parts of I-70 through Indianapolis for bridge work beginning later, a week from now, basically. I-70 eastbound from Ronald Reagan Parkway to the south split will close on May 22nd. All lanes are scheduled to reopen on June 28th. Wow. You're going to be shut down a while. I-70 westbound from the south split to Ronald Reagan Parkway going to be closed on June 26th. Those lanes are going to be set to reopen by July 30th, so just in time for August. Indiana DOT says the interstate closure is going to remain in effect during the Memorial Day and July 4th holiday weekend, so keep that in mind. That's going to be interesting. What are we going to do for July 4th, Memorial Day, Labor Day, all that fun stuff? This coronavirus thing, it's got to stop. It's got to go away. I'll tell you too, man, if we, I say this every time, but if we continue to let China, if we continue to let if our companies, in other words, do not come home from China, if we don't bring manufacturing back to this country, we are just not as smart as I thought we would be. All right, what else is going on? There's been so much crazy stuff going on trying to keep up with what's what. The politicians, I don't know about you, but they're about to drive me nuts. It's obvious this coronavirus thing has turned into a political maneuver with certain politicians. Well, it's all of them pretty much anymore. The president, I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. He's the president. I'm hoping he's doing what's best for the country, or at least in his mind, what he really believes is best for the country. But there are some politicians out there, and it's pretty obvious who they are. They're trying to use this for their benefit and their benefit only. Of course, I'm talking about Nancy Pelosi. I'm independent. I'll just tell you right now, I'm not Republican. I'm not Democrat. I'm independent. I'm for the person that is going to do the right thing for the country, not for their party. And anymore, it's for their party. What benefits us? It's me. First of all, politicians, you're not there to serve you. You're there to serve the people. You know what I mean? You start seeing politicians like Pelosi show up on late night TV talking about chocolate ice cream when the rest of the country is trying to figure out how they're going to pay rent, how they're going to afford to go to the grocery store to buy necessary food to feed their family. When you see politicians at home doing stuff like Nancy Pelosi was doing with the chocolate ice cream stuff, and then not come back to Washington because it's too dangerous when you got people on the front line, doctors, nurses, people working in a hospital, truck drivers, doing their job to keep the country going. The politicians that are there to work for us are hiding. And then you got this HEROES Act she's trying to get passed that is nothing more than trying to pay for what she wants, has nothing to do really with coronavirus. Stuff like that really gets on your, it's going to really, well, it irks me. As I'm sure it does a lot of you too. Honestly, I don't get it. I was going to say, are politicians really that dense? But I think history has pretty much answered that question. I'm not just picking on Democrats. It's there are Republicans out there too. That are doing stuff that is off the wall. Here in Arkansas, it's the 15th. There is a concert scheduled for tonight here in the town I'm in, Fort Smith. The governor shut it down. No concerts. The health department, I believe, has issued or got a cease and desist order. But the people that own the venue putting on the concert, they sounds like they're going to come out and do it anyway. The venue only holds 1,100 people, and they say they're only going to let some like 220 people in or something like that. Their argument is that, hey, you're letting people go to church. If this same act was playing in a church, this would be a non-issue. But since this act is playing in a venue, it's an issue. Well, and they can't understand why. Well, first of all, separation of church and state. I get their argument, I really do. It may not seem fair, but that is the law at this point. So you either obey it or you don't. Now, I'm really not getting, actually the way I understand is 3 days, the 18th, venues such as this could begin having operations and concerts and stuff like that, only it was going to be limited to X amount of people. I think the most that could be attend would be 50, so it's already something like 150, 170 people over what the limit should be, so they're still breaking the law. But, I get their point, but the thing is, there is a difference between church and an entertainment venue. And it's protected constitutionally. Not that the Constitution means too much right now during this coronavirus. The restaurants reopened here in Arkansas. 30% capacity, so if your restaurant can hold 100 people, only 30 people can be seated at a time. If you're a customer, you're going to have to wear a mask until your food arrives. Servers are wearing a mask and gloves. I'm sorry, that is weird to me. I'm all for the restaurants. I don't want to see anybody lose money. I don't want to see anybody go out of business. But I also don't want to wear a mask to a restaurant and be served by somebody wearing a mask and rubber gloves. I don't want to look over there and see somebody else, another patron wearing a mask over there. That's just weird. For years I've watched these videos coming out of Asia, China and places like that, where you saw a lot of people walking around, just a everyday normal thing, wearing a mask. And I always thought, how weird. I get it now, but how weird. Is this what we're going to be doing for the rest of our lives? Is this the new normal? It is if we let it be our new normal. Bottom line, it's what we let it be. There's a 96% cure rate. 96% of the people come down with coronavirus, they recover. 4% don't. Now, I'll tell you, I've got issues. My health, I'm up there knocking on the door of that, where it could be fatal, bunch. But I'll be honest with you, I don't want to wear a mask. I don't want other people wearing a mask around me. I want life to be normal. I don't want to be stupid about it. But this is just weird. It's all weird. And I'll be honest with you, most people I know, they're not wearing a mask. They all think the same thing. Matthew McConaughey, did you see what he said the other day? He came out talking about, it seems like, the country's divided. The people that wear the mask, they're on the left, and people that don't wear the mask, they're on the right. The blue states are keeping their states shut down. The red states are trying to get their states open. It's strange, but he's right. He's right. I'm not really into movie stars' politics and, what they think. But in this case, Matthew McConaughey's right. That's exactly what it feels like. And I think that's what a lot of politicians want. Strange times. This is FBTV Radio Live. My name is Michael. I'm your host. We'll be back in a couple of minutes.